Alright fellas, here we're back in Pokemon Masters, and today we're going to be looking at Noland and Ninjask and seeing should you summon for them. So, they are a Variety Scout Sync pair. We got Thornton and Magnezone 2 days ago, right? I just closed out of the timeline of it. You know, it's fine. So, whatever. We got the trainer files about 2 days ago. Well, yesterday for the time of recording this, and I guess uploading as well. But we got the trainer files with Thornton and Magnezone and all of that stuff, right? So we're in the part 2, or the second sync pair rather, which is this Noland and Ninjask. And they're quite an interesting sync pair, I would say. Definitely not as good as Thornton, in my opinion, though they do kind of have different roles, so I wouldn't really... I don't think you can compare them too much, but you probably can, and if you were to compare them, I would say Thornton is definitely better. But Ninjask and Noland and Ninjask here are definitely not too bad, for sure. So let's go into their details. As stated, they are a Variety Scout Sync pair. They're dropping on October 7th and leaving on October 19th, giving you about 12 days to try and pull them. It's quite low. I figured they would maybe put this out like October 21st or something, you know, give people like 2 weeks, but not even 2 weeks, so oh well. They are a they're a Sprint Sync pair with the Physical Strike EX roll. Definitely not worth the EX Strike, I would say. I mean, of course, they can be. They definitely can be. They've got some good stuff in here, but I would say probably give the EX roll to someone else, like Field or Variety Giovanni, probably Akari. I'm trying to think. Ariana is definitely an amazing candidate. There's probably more. I can't think of it. I'm not gonna. I guess I could look so far. Let's see. So if we look at characters who have the Striker EX roll, yeah, quite a few valuable characters. I would say that Roxanne could probably use it more. I'd say all of these characters, bar Ray and Blue, could probably make a great use of this and have a little bit more value than Noland does. But that's my input. Anyway, again, he's a Bug Sync pair, which is very, very good, right? Being Bug is amazing because we have so few good Bug Sync pairs. It's absolutely insane. Like, we have our last real damage dealer bug unit was Signasuit Hilbert, and that was all the way back in November of last year, so nearly a year since we've got our last good premium bug unit. Only other one in between is Lodge Dawn, who is a support character, so doesn't do much. And even other than Signasuit Hilbert, you've got Alder, who I think he's fine at 1 out of 5 on type, but outside of that, you're probably going to need some dupes for this guy. This guy definitely needs dupes to work pretty well, and probably Noland too, but he's really our only other option besides Emmett and Ingo here, who just got their paid rerun, so there's that. Normal Noland is fine, except for against like Seabold and whatnot. Guzma can work fine, I guess, as a bug nuker, but mostly just do on-type stuff with him if you're going to mess with him. Berg got his grid expansion, but I'd still say he's fine. Probably wins an EX, though, I would say, for sure. But he's going to be fine on bug weak stages. Most of these bug characters are only good on bug weak stuff, except Hilbert, because Hilbert's just good against a lot of things, and not even just bug. But Noland, anyway, let's go ahead and look at him. Definitely a very, very good addition to the bug roster, because we do need more bug characters. Though, I would say, if it comes down to it, we do have Signasuit Hilbert rerunning later in the month. I'm going to go ahead and reopen this. So, if you do want this guy, just for like a bug unit, just wait until Signasuit Hilbert's rerun. Just do it. I really recommend it. Because Signasuit Hilda, Signasuit Hilbert, and Signasuit N to an extent, I wouldn't say N, but Hilbert and Hilda definitely, it's just so much more value in the triple rerun banner because it's very, very likely going to be 1.5% rates per Pokefair featured. So you have a 1.5% chance to pull Hilda and Hilbert and N, total for a 4.5% chance of a featured sync pair. So I do definitely recommend going for this banner if you at very least want Noland just for his bug damage. I would just go for this one because this one is just so much better. Hilbert's a greater sync pair and he can provide so much more stuff to you than Noland can. And also Hilda, really, really strong fire striker. Going to be very, very good for the fire high score event too. So do try and pick her up as well. But anyway, I digress. So looking at Noland's kit, 140 level 140 here. He's got 602 HP, 424 attack, which is pretty good for sure. Definitely very, very nice. 164 in both defenses, which is fine, I guess. It's more on the frail side of things. 346 special attack, which is also fine, and 508 speed, which is very, very, very fast. So that's very, very good. Having more speed is very, very nice because it does obviously help out with the gauge, and he's also got some gauge support abilities, or speed support abilities, so he's going to be very, very good in that aspect as well. Obviously, he's got these theme skills here. Again, he's got the EX roll of Striker. Do keep that in mind. And he's a sprint sync pair, so he's got a lot of speed. Not to mention the fact he's already got great speed in the base stats. And of course, if you do give him to level 150 or EX or the EX roll, he's going to have far higher stats in every department. So that's pretty nice for sure. Looking at the passive skills here, he's got hit team speed up to 9, raises speed of all allies by 2 when the user's attack move is successful, which he does have 2 of, so this is very, very easy to activate. If you do want him for gauge support purposes, he's going to be very good at that. He's got Overwhelm 9, lowering enemy attack by 1 when his attack move is successful. That's great because he also has Struggle Bug, which is able to lower an enemy's special attack by 1. Is Struggle Bug AoE? Yeah, okay, so Struggle Bug is AoE. There's just an error in this chart here. So Struggle Bug is an AoE move. It hits all enemies and lowers their special attack. Combine that with the ability to debuff their attack with Overwhelm 9. You've got both offenses debuffed. And obviously he's got the team hit speed up to 9 ability here to raise all allies' speed after landing an attack move. Very, very good stuff, right? All of those abilities just using Struggle Bug. Or, of course, this ability, but whatever. And Haste, he's unable to have his Speed Lord, which is very, very good for one of his other abilities here. So, going down here to the skills list, or moves list rather, he's got the Struggle Bug, which again, we've already stated how good that is. He's got Dire Hit Plus for the critical hit self-sufficiency, and Good Job, the trainer move, which reduces sync countdown by 3, raises his attack and evasion by 2, and lowers his defenses by 3. I don't like the caveat of lowering the defenses here, but I do like the sync countdown -3, and I'd say that this is fair enough, I suppose. You can bring a defensive support to work with him just fine, because we are getting defensive supports. Like, I'm pretty sure the Fall Phoebe is a good defensive support later in the month if you do plan to go for her. And obviously, you know, we've got, you know, what's that? Aura Cynthia. It took me a while to get the name, I'm sorry. Aura Cynthia, as well as other defensive buffing characters. I know there is a character that can buff both defensive stats by 2, and I forget who it is. I think it may be Summerhilda, but you've got a decent few options to buff defenses just in case you do want to deal with this problem, so it's not too bad. And his buddy move, Accelerating X Scissor, 1 gauge move, 160 base power. It's a sure hit move, whatever, basic stuff. And the activation condition is when the user's speed is raised to the maximum stat rank, and the activation condition is when it is no longer raised to the maximum stat rank. So, this is a very, very good trainer move, or buddy move rather, because it requires max speed, which is a little annoying, but it's a 1 gauge move for 160 base power, which is very, very good. There's no move that compares to having this type of power and having this little gauge, other than moves like Marnie's Fiery Wrath, who has no gauge, but of course it's only a one-use move, so this one, being infinite use, is probably just more consistent, obviously, in my opinion. And the move also never misses. It lowers enemies' accuracy by 1 and leaves them confused. Very, very good stuff, right? Being able to debuff accuracy is great for obviously having the enemy not hit you, and that definitely combines well with his defense debuff, so, you know, it increases the chance he won't get hit, plus his already innate evasion, as well as leaving enemies confused, meaning they also have another chance to not hit you. So that's very, very good. A lot of different ways for the enemies to be screwed over by Noland and not be able to attack him. Just requires a lot of luck, right? And obviously buffing your speed to max outside of having a speed support can be a little annoying, because you do have to use an attack move 3 times, which leaves you little room to use your trainer move or your Dire Hit Plus. And him being a sprint unit, he does mess a lot with the sync countdown here with the trainer move, so obviously he wants to have sync countdown, but you do gotta consider you can't get this maxed out very, very quickly. So it kind of goes against that sprint roll type of aspiration, I guess, where you want to be able to get everything fast and start doing damage or something really, really quickly, get a lot of sync countdown, you know, whatever, right? Nolan kind of doesn't fit that bill, because he wants to buff his crit, he wants to buff his stats and do sync countdown, he wants to use Struggle Bug to buff his speed and lower enemy stats, and then he wants to use his X Scissor here. So it's a little bit annoying, but you can probably build around it, you know, depending on what supports you bring or whatever else. You can definitely build around this and have it, you know, be a little bit quicker to get to his Accelerating X Scissor here. So in his Sync Nuke here, he's got Knowledge from Experience Bug Impact. The more his speed is raised, the greater the power of this attack, and of course his speed cannot be debuffed, by the way, obviously with haste, so this will never deactivate once it is activated, which is great. And of course he'll have the max multiplier from his innate nuke, you know, all the time, which is great as well. Obviously lowers sync countdown by 3 with the Sprint EX, and hits all enemies with the Striker EX. So very, very conventional stuff, very, very nice. Again, the reason I say don't go for him mostly is the fact that, like, he's slow on his buffs, or, you know, he wants to do something and then he wants to have allies do something. He can't do it all himself, which is not a big problem, but when you're a sprint sync pair and you want to do a lot of stuff, it can kind of get a little overwhelming, I guess. Looking at, you know, the trainer move here, you want to use this for the sync countdown, which you could do obviously after the sync move as well. I mean, that's fair enough, but I would tend to personally want to use this before the sync move, get my sync moves in quicker and quicker. But you could use the trainer move here, and if you do that, you're wasting valuable time to where you could be buffing your speed to activate your X Scissor here, and then obviously buffing your crit, you're wasting even more time, etc. So you'd want to bring either a support that can buff his crit while he buffs his attack by 2 and reduce the sync countdown by 3. So, you know, maybe Sonia or someone, whoever, maybe Hop, again, whatever. And then, you know, you can start using Struggle Bug right after that, you know, buff your speed, use your sync move or your support EX sync move, whatever. And then, again, you'll have to continue using Struggle Bug to try and get your speed buffed enough in order to use your accelerating X Scissor. You'll need to have some pretty solid partners that can, you know, help you out in doing that, because you want his speed buffed, you want his sync countdown, you want his crit buffs, you kind of want a lot from him, right? And especially if you're using him in a utility role, obviously activating this won't be a big problem, but you'll have to obviously use Struggle Bug for the special attack and attack debuffs. So you do got to keep in mind that with this Noland character, he does need some supports to help him do some stuff that he wants to do, because he can't do it all himself in a timely manner. He can do it all himself, yes, but not super quickly. So you do got to help him out in that aspect. Also got to consider his defenses. But anyway, yeah. He does have some good stuff here at 1 out of 5 for sure. As stated, it's definitely a very, very strong kit for sure. Sprint with the sync countdown is also very, very nice as well. But honestly, for a sprint character, I would go for Ray. He's so much stronger and just so good, so insane. I would go for Ray over Noland for sure as a sprint sync pair, but for a bug sync pair, I would definitely go for Hilbert. Not only because Hilbert covers bug very, very well and probably more consistent than Noland with the 240 base power Techno Blast here off of the 350 special attack, but he can also hit 4 other types super effectively: fire, water, electric, and ice. So yeah, do gotta keep that in mind. This guy's super effective against 5 types, Noland's super effective against 1, and for sync countdown, Ray is just a better character. But let's go ahead and look at the grid here for people who are just interested in pulling Noland anyway, which of course is fair because he is a good sync pair, just can be outclassed by others, and his role can be replaced by others, like most characters, really. Anyway, at 1 out of 5, he's got pretty much nothing other than Headstrong. He's got 2 out of 5 here with Catalyst, which is pretty solid. Super duper effective 3 if you do want to do some super effective damage. I guess that's fair, but really he'll probably be doing enough damage anyway. You probably don't need this, but of course you could pick it up if you want. Sync Regen for gradual healing. Maybe if you get hit by a stray AoE attack or whatever, obviously having the defenses debuffed generally is going to hurt quite a bit, so you do want to have the regeneration or something, but more of a niche scenario. You could just bring potions or buff his defenses or whatever. Stop hitting yourself 5. Obviously, you'd have to have the enemy confused, which will take a while to get because you do need to get the accelerating X Scissor activated here. But of course, you could probably bring someone to help you out with that. Maybe, honestly, Nita would probably be very good for that. You could do Nita, his trainer move, and then buff his crit stuff, and then Struggle Bug, and then this would be activated. That's not too bad. Honestly, Nita may be a good support for him. Anyway, also she's got potions. Think about that one for you. Anyway, Curative Confusion restores HP when attacking a confused enemy, and Fail Forward, charging Gauge when an enemy misses. This is not really that useful because he already buffs all ally speed, so Gauge is not going to be a problem, especially when he has 500 speed. Natural Remedy, restoring status conditions, can be solid, but most of the stuff is just kind of general utility, kind of niche stuff. The healing's a little niche, the stop hitting yourself's kind of niche. The super duper effective 3 is solid for damage, but, you know, obviously it's only for super effective damage. It's only for your damaging moves, which would only be good on accelerating X Scissor, and that's once it's activated. So overall, I'd say that the 2 out of 5 is pretty niche, not really anything valuable. It's fine, I guess, but nothing crazy. But for 3 out of 5, obviously here, we've got a lot of great abilities. Trainer Move Berserker is fine if you want to be self-sufficient with attack buffs, but I just wouldn't. Pecking Order is great for a good nuke. Slow Opponents Sync 5 plus Trip Up 9 is obviously good for extra debuffs, because now you can debuff attack, special attack, and speed. It's like having a miniature Venom Drench, yeah, that's what it's called. And then obviously the extra multiplier from the sync move is great. Combine that with the extra multiplier from here, you got quite a bit in terms of the sync nuke damage, right? Outside of that, he's got Critical Eye 1 for his crit buffs, being self-sufficient. This is actually quite a solid ability. He's also got ramming speed as well, and he's also got hit evasion, evasiveness up 9, raising his evasion when an attack move is successful. And Fleet on the trainer move I wouldn't even pick up. Overall, I'd say that he's definitely got some solid stuff on the grid. The biggest problem, though, is that you can't pick all of it up. If you want to go for the full nuke, can you even go for the full nuke? Maybe. Yeah, you can. Okay, you can go for the full nuke. No, you can't. Okay, fine. Take out a sync node, I guess. Take out a sync node, whatever. You can go for the full nuke that way. So there you go. Just take out a sync node and you're good. You can definitely go for this, especially if you want to be self-sufficient. If you don't want to be self-sufficient, I think then you can pick up the other node here. But of course, you would need someone who can debuff enemy speed. Which, thinking about partners, I don't think any of his better partners can do that. I don't know. I can't think of many bug units. I don't use too many. I don't think Hilbert's able to debuff speed, is he? He may be able to, but okay, super slowing hit, what the fuck ever it's called. That's a 4 out of 5 ability, so he can debuff speed if you're using him as a partner. But other than that, it doesn't look like he can debuff speed in any other method. I could obviously just be forgetting though. But there may be some other characters that can debuff speed. I'm not too sure. But obviously, if you don't want to be self-sufficient, you can go for the full nuke here. But if you do want to be self-sufficient, you will have to sacrifice a sync node, which is a little bit annoying, but hey, whatever, right? So you can go for that, but sadly you cannot go for any of the DPS stuff or most of the self-sufficiency stuff other than the speed debuffs. But if you do want to go for self-sufficiency / DPS, which is actually not a bad idea, you could go for something like this. You could also go for the hit evasiveness up. That's fine as well. But outside of this, I'd say that this is your best stuff to pick up for the DPS with accelerating X Scissor. If you do want to go for the trip up and super effect and this, sync move stuff here, you can do that. I would say realistically, probably pick up something like this if you want to go for a nuke slash DPS type thing. This is probably among your better grids, I would say. I could obviously be wrong, but hey, there you go. May as well work. Sadly, we don't have one extra energy, so we can't pick up the other node here. But nuke, he's still got 100% multiplier here, plus 100% multiplier here, so it's not like the nuke's going to be hitting for, like, frail damage. It's just, the big thing with Spray DX characters is that you use it for the sync countdown. You don't do it for too much damage. You can, but it's not generally going to be your big appetizer. So, obviously, DPS / nuke, that's fine as well. Only real problem that I would really say that he has is that he can't really do everything himself. Because if you want to focus on DPS, you're going to have to find a way to get your stats buffed, whether it be by yourself, which will make it take longer for this, or you're going to have to provide a support for you. Either way, it'll take quite a few turns to get the accelerating X Scissor activated because you do need max speed. If you do bring a full buffing support that can buff your attack and crit, you are going to be missing out on the sync countdown until after your trainer move, or not your trainer move, sorry, your sync move, which may not be too bad of an idea because you could go for 3 struggle bugs, have your allies buff your speed, attack, and crit, I guess, and then you could obviously quad queue up this move, which would instantly give you another sync move, so that could be very, very good. You could definitely, kind of work around your potential issues, and also do know if you do have the full nuke stuff, or you have pecking order at all, you do have to have someone, whether it be Noland, and it take a while, or someone else as an ally, support ally, whatever, to buff debuff the enemy attack. You do have to keep that in mind. You do have to have enemy attack debuff to full for the full nuke on pecking order, so it can be a little annoying there. It's just, you need quite a few partners for this guy to get the specific stuff you may want, so you got to keep that in mind, right? You got to keep that in mind. Overall, though, I would say that this Noland and Ninjask is quite a solid sync pair, right? Very, very nice, especially for especially for people who want to go for this sync pair, right? Obviously, if you are a Noland fan, you're going to be rejoicing, right? I know SPL Gum is going to be quite happy about that. I can't blame anyone. This guy is definitely very, very strong for sure, and obviously any Noland or Ninjask fan, or both, obviously, is going to be quite happy about this, because definitely a very, very good sync pair. Obviously, it's giving Noland a nice spotlight, but I would say in terms of overall just viableness, well, not viableness, sorry, value, rather, just go for Signa Suit Hilbert. Hilbert's so much better, just in general, and just provides so much more to both his allies as well as just the damage he can do. It's such an insane unit, and of course he's rerunning later in the month, so you don't have to worry about that. You can build up a lot of gems from now and then, so you can actually guarantee yourself potentially getting this character, right? So definitely try and go for them instead, I would say, especially because we've already got a lot that's still available. And of course, I'm pretty sure this is the last day that the anniversary characters are available, so if you do not have them, go for them for sure. Obviously if you want to, but yeah, I digress. That is the summoner skip for Noland and Ninjask. I do not recommend going for them, mostly because of Hilbert, but whatever. If you do plan to go for them, I wish you luck in your summons. I definitely don't blame anyone because they are a good sync pair, and obviously Noland has his fan base, so go ahead, have fun, whatever. But yeah, I'll see you all later. I hope you all enjoyed.